Let's talk a bit about the Greens' policy on the climate crisis, because when you became the leader of the Greens in 2020, so right at the beginning of the pandemic, you spoke a lot about a Green New Deal. So what exactly is that, and how is that different to what we'd heard from the Greens before?
This is about a transformative plan that puts workers and communities at the centre of the transition, that recognises that coal and gas workers are not the enemy, need support as we transition to a renewable economy, but that also says we can tackle the climate crisis by tackling the other crises that we've got as well. So including the housing crisis, the unemployment, the fact that so many people are living in poverty, all of those things can be tackled as part of a comprehensive plan. It's about saying we don't just need to change the government, we need to change what the government does. And it's about making sure that we make the billionaires and big corporations pay their fair share of tax to make people's lives better by tackling the climate crisis and the inequality crisis.
And when you spoke over the last few years about the Green New Deal and about how this would work, you said that the government should invest in infrastructure, in renewables, and that it was a good time for the government to do that because loans were so cheap, because interest rates were at historic lows during the pandemic. But that is obviously changing. Interest rates are going up and going up much faster than it seems the Greens policy would have anticipated. So are you still saying that we would borrow money to pay for it?
Well, investing in infrastructure is still a good idea. We've got to do it. We've got to get off coal and gas and onto renewables. And we've got a plan for a Snowy Hydro 3.0 to basically build across the country the equivalent of our current coal-fired power fleet, so about 25 gigawatts, build that in renewables. Now, that will require investment to do that, but it's a good investment because you end up with something that you can hold on to for generations. We do need to invest to build more public housing, to build more renewable energy. That requires borrowing, but it's investment that helps not only grow the economy, but deliver something that's there for generations to come. But what we're also focusing on is making big corporations and billionaires pay their fair share to help fund our policies. And we've got 1 in 3 big corporations in this country that pays no tax at all. 27 gas corporations brought in $78 billion of revenue in 1 year and paid no tax on it. So we're also saying to help fund the policies, make the billionaires and big corporations pay their fair share of tax.